Okay, welcome everybody to the August TDL Member Forum. We're so glad that you all have joined us today and hope you're excited about the start of a new academic year. We are around these parts. As I said, my name is Christy Park and I'm the director of the Texas Digital Library, and I'm joined as usual today by Courtney Muma, TDL's deputy director, and Leah DeForest, our communications strategist. And it's just the three of us today. We sadly don't have any guest speakers, so you just get the three of us, usual folks. The usual reminders as we get started: if you have questions or announcements, you can use the chat window for those. Please enter those questions whenever you have them, and we'll take a moment when we take a pause to answer them as best as we're able. We'll also be posting the recording for this webinar to the TDL YouTube channel later on, so you can reference or share it there. I'm going to start today as usual with some updates of my own, and then Courtney will take on our service and projects updates. We're going to talk some about DSpace, some about OJS 3 upgrades, and a little bit about Vireo 4. We've got a lot going on coming into the fall. And then Leah and Courtney will provide some updates about conferences, events, and other community goings on, and we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. So first off, just want to give you an update on our roadshow around Texas. We're continuing to make progress towards our goal of visiting each of our regular member institutions this year. Last week, Leah and I visited two of our member campuses, Sam Houston State University in Huntsville and Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches. You can see us there with the Sam Houston folks on the left. That is not us on the right. We, for the first time on these trips, forgot to take a photo at Stephen F. Austin. So the mighty lumberjack will have to serve as a placeholder for now, and we will use this as an opportunity to get back to SFA and take a photo with everybody. If there's anybody on the call from Stephen F., you're not off the hook. We're taking your photo. We've now visited 17, I think, of our 23 members, and we have 2 Galveston visits scheduled for next month, and we're looking forward to getting the remaining visits on the calendar very soon. So if we haven't made it to your campus, we will, and you should be looking for email from me or Leah about scheduling those visits. Next, we want you to get your calendars out while we're on the line here and save the date for the 2020 Texas Conference on Digital Libraries, which will be held May 18th through 21st, 2020 at the Commons Learning Center in Austin, our usual spot. We've already begun planning for this event with our planning committee chair and co-chair. Those are Marcia McIntosh from the University of North Texas Libraries and Shelley Barba, our vice chair from Texas Tech University Libraries. And our full committee will be kicking off their work next week. We'll be providing updates throughout the fall on that planning as it happens. But we want you to know ASAP the when and the where, so that you can start making plans to attend. And I want to note briefly that this year we'll be using a slightly different program structure over these 4 days of the conference. So May 18th will be reserved for workshops and ticketed pre-conference events, and then the main conference days, where we have our regular sessions, our keynote, our poster session, and reception, will be May 19th and 20th. And then May 21st will be reserved for group and committee meetings. So if you're serving on the TDR steering committee or the Vireo users group or other groups and committees along those lines, make sure you're planning to stick around for that final day. We're doing this a little bit of a switch so that we can hopefully avoid conflicts between workshops that people want to attend and commitments that they have to TDL committees and other groups. Finally, we want to remind folks that our conference proceedings for TCDL 2019 are available for download in the TDL DSpace repository, and there's a link there on the slide to that collection. Big thank you to Taylor Fairweather at West Texas A&M for depositing those on behalf of the consortium. And Leah's also put the link there in the chat. I want to note a few other events coming up a little sooner on the calendar in September. We have a couple of important events on the TDL calendar happening early in the month. On September 9th, we'll welcome deans and directors from our member organizations to our annual TDL member board meeting, which takes place concurrent with the Texas Council of Academic Libraries meeting in Austin. We use that meeting to communicate important information about the state of TDL and plans for the coming year, and we have some really exciting news that we'll share with our board there that we'll then share out with all of you at the next forum, so stay tuned for that. Later the same week, our staff will gather in Austin for our third annual staff retreat, which we call TDL Reboot. We use this event every year to get our geographically distributed staff together for an in-person planning and team building event. And we do that over a couple of days here in Austin. And then finally, later in September, I want to remind you of the DSpace North America user group meeting at the University of Minnesota, which is happening September 23rd and 24th. TDL DSpace User Group Chair Ed Warga has been representing the TDL community on the planning committee for that event. Thank you, Ed. And he'll be attending it along with Nick Woodward from our staff and we hope many other members of the TDL user community. So if you are interested and can attend that event, I think it's going to be really wonderful and a good first look at DSpace version 7 and a good opportunity to connect with other DSpace users across North America. One final bittersweet update before we talk about services and projects. Today we're saying goodbye to Lauren McCulloch, our Administrative Associate and Events Coordinator, who has been on the TDL staff for the past 2 years and has managed 2 different TCDL conferences for the Texas Digital Library community. Lauren is moving on to an exciting position at Dell Medical School at UT Austin, and we are really excited for the opportunity that change affords her. We are also eternally grateful for all her hard work, especially in the ways she grew TCDL and her leadership in that area. And I know all of you will join me in thanking her and wishing her well. We are really going to miss Lauren and are sad to see her go. We will be filling this open position and the posting is live. So if you know any good folks who would love to work with us here at TDL, please send them our way. We know we won't be able to replace Lauren, but we will be looking for somebody good to come in and help us out. Okay. So now as I wipe a tear away, I'm going to hand it over to Courtney Muma, our Deputy Director, to take us through some updates about services and ongoing projects.
Same here. I'll try to take us back up a notch after our sadness about Lauren. With some service updates. So the first service updates I want to start with are our Open Journal Systems OJS3 upgrades. So TDL over the next several months will begin the process of upgrading its hosted academic journals to OJS 3.1.2.4. OJS version 3 represents a major leap forward for the Open Journal Systems platform, both in look and feel and functionality. So we had already begun, as many of you know, in June to launch any new journals in OJS 3, and we're pleased to announce that 7 new journals have been added over the summer from Texas Tech, Texas A&M, and University of Houston users. Then starting in September, we are beginning the task of upgrading each of our 80 or so academic journals to this new version. Because of the number of journals we host and the relative complexity of this upgrade, We will be spreading these upgrades over a period of several months in order to make sure we can provide adequate support for each journal. We'll begin upgrades with journals sponsored by the University of Houston and Texas State University, and we'll phase out in migrations for other institutions over several months, extending into the new year. Excuse me. In order to discuss OJS version 3 in the upgrade process, TDL will host a webinar on Wednesday, August 28th from 11 a.m. to noon. An announcement for this webinar has gone out to all TDL library liaisons and journal managers, but Leah will also post a link for registering for that webinar in the chat here. TDL also has a demo journal in OJS 3.1.2.4 available for you to explore and test, a link to which we'll provide in the chat window as well. To get credentials for the journal, please contact the TDL help desk at support@tdl.org with your name, institution, and email address, and just a note that you would like access to that demo journal. If you have any questions or concerns about any of this, ask them at the end of today's forum, but also don't hesitate to contact us through the help desk as well. Now I'm going to move on to some DSpace updates. I want to highlight just a few things from our recent DSpace Year in Review blog post, including our efforts to improve DSpace for users and repository managers alike, and get a sneak peek at what lies ahead for the rest of 2019 in DSpace. So, as many of you know, TDL became fully staffed in 2018 with the addition of one full-time software developer to our team. That allowed us to reorganize our staff workload to provide greater developer support to DSpace hosting, leading to the DSpace improvements we achieved in the past year. Some of those things in the past year include upgrades to DSpace 6 for current member repositories that we started back in the fall of 2018 and completed in February of 2019. And then in the spring, we deployed improvements to the video player and thumbnail generation functionality in TDL-hosted DSpace repositories that allow submitters to include a subtitle or caption file that will be incorporated into videos and published in the repository. Back in September 2018, we relaunched the TDL DSpace user group, and this group, of course, is open to any DSpace user and not limited to TDL members. Additionally, the DSpace Training and Education Group, which was formerly called the DSpace Education Working Group, rebooted their group charter, developed a project roadmap for 2019, and created DSpace documentation, DSpace 6 documentation in TDL's training wiki. And then in the interest of paying it forward, this is very important to us, TDL continues to contribute to open source development of DSpace and its worldwide user community as platinum members of that DSpace project. For the rest of the 2019 year, TDL's DSpace projects include completing the bpress Digital Commons to DSpace migration for new members, University of Texas Health Science Center, and also documenting that process. In fact, Nick Woodward will be presenting about that at the DSpace North America user group meeting in Minneapolis that we mentioned before. We're also investigating and testing DSpace 7, which is still in its preview release. Finally, anyone, TDL members and non-members alike, are welcome to get involved with TDL's DSpace work. A few ways you can get involved is attend that North America users group meeting, join the TDL DSpace user group, sign up for email updates from TDL, and follow us on social media. And for TDL members, remember that you can access our help desk with any and all DSpace questions or issues. Leah's going to post a link with more info in the chat window. And then she'll also paste that DSpace Year in Review blog post. Finally, I want to update you about the Vireo 4 release candidate, which is out. Yesterday, Stephanie Larison, Texas State University awesome librarian and also the product owner and Vireo Steering Committee co-chair, led a fantastic webinar highlighting some new features in Vireo 4. Some of those feature highlights include the ability to configure multiple submission workflows, controlled vocabularies, improved metadata, and also enhanced field control for filtering, flagging, and tracking in the action log. That video with closed captioning will be available soon. TDL will begin gradually rolling out Vireo 4 upgrades to members over the course of this year and into next summer. And the official Vireo 4.0 release will be ready, so beyond the release candidate version will be ready by the end of this month. If you would like to be actively involved in the future of Vireo, please join the Vireo user group listserv. if you are not a member already, at tdl-vireo@utlists.utexas.edu. And thanks again to Stephanie Larison and Chris Starcher from Texas Tech for that wonderful webinar yesterday. And now we're going to move on into some updates from conferences, events, and webinars of the TDL community. The first of which is something we're very, very excited about. Web Archiving Texas registration is open, and a reminder, it is free. So Web Archiving Texas, of course, is going to be November 6th, 2019 at Baylor University. Leah's going to post a link to the event page that has more info about the logistics of the event, including lodging and transportation ideas, as well as the registration link. This is going to be a one-day event, and it's open to everyone, and it'll be an opportunity to build a community around web archiving in Texas, bringing people together to share skills and resources and to amplify the work that impacts the national and international web archiving community. So join TDL at Baylor on Wednesday, November 6th to begin this exciting collaboration. And leading up to that, I'm also excited to announce our new webinar series that kicks off next week as sort of a precursor and preparatory information for the web conference. So this series will provide context and background for the topics to be discussed at the upcoming WATX 19 event. All the webinars in this series are also free, and they're also open to anyone who's interested, so not just TDL membership. Even if you can't make it to the event in November, I encourage you to sign up for these webinars. The series begins in August next week and will feature presentations from Baylor, Texas A&M, TDL, University of North Texas, and more. The presentations will cover, there will be 3 in total, and the first will be web archiving technology, tools, and resources, sort of an overview. The second will be a web archiving sampler, looking at examples of work from different Texas institutions. And the third is web archiving in the library, so specifically looking at policies, procedures, and program integration. And we're looking for some more volunteers for this one if you're available. And now I'm going to hand it off to Leah to talk about some more exciting events coming up.
Hey everyone, this is Leah. Can you hear me okay? It looks like my microphone got disconnected there for a second.
You sound great.
Okay, thank you. Let me just get back to our slides here. Looks like, is everyone seeing that linked data slide?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just FYI, there's some construction going on in our building, and they messed with my Ethernet connection, and so I might have a little delay in picture and sound, so thanks for bearing with me. So as you can see, we have a new webinar, and we're thrilled to announce this webinar, which will be hosted by Itza Carbajal. She's the Latin American metadata librarian with the Lilas Benson Library at UT Austin. Itza's presentation is going to provide an overview on how to start a staff-friendly learning environment for institutions looking to investigate or implement linked data technologies. Itza will share lessons learned, strategies, and information she's created and also curated in resources that we'll share out during that webinar. I'm going to paste a link in chat where you can learn more and register. And as with all of our webinars, this webinar is free and open to anyone who's interested, so not just for TDL members. Okay, and next, can everyone see that slide that has the Cross Timbers Library Collaborative and different conferences? Not yet, it looks like. Yes, you do see it. You do see it. Okay, good. Thank you. So TDL staff have been busy. We've been attending and presenting various conferences in the area in Texas. I had the pleasure of co-presenting with Alamo College's district at CTLC. This presentation covered activities of the statewide OER Coordinating Committee, and this was hosted by Texas Women's University on August 2nd. Courtney attended and presented at SAA, which was held here in Austin, July 31st through August 6th. And then Christy and I attended and Christy presented on the statewide OER coordinating committee at Open Education Texas, which was a conference hosted in Austin by the Texas Higher Ed Coordinating Board and the Virtual College of Texas. And we were so pleased to see so many of our members and partners at these conferences. It's always a treat to get to run into you in person and not just on a screen. And finally, we want to remind you of 3 important upcoming conferences. Digital Frontiers will be hosted by UT Libraries in Austin, Texas, September 26th through 28th. I will be attending my first Digital Frontiers conference this year. We are really proud to sponsor that conference, and I hope to see many of you there. Some of you may be attending the USETDA conference in Charleston right around that time, so that conference is September 25th through 27th. We're also very proud to sponsor that conference and look forward to hearing back from any of you members who may be attending. And then finally, join Courtney and I in Tampa for the DLF Forum and the NDSA Digital Preservation, October 14th through 17th. We'll be there. This is my first DLF Forum, so I'm really excited and I hope to get to run into some of you there. So now I'm just going to paste in some of these conference reminders and conference proceedings. So I'll be pasting in a bunch of links as Christy moves into the Q&A. But I do just want to pause and publicly thank Lauren again for all of her work and help and being such a kind and fun and resourceful coworker. And in the meantime, while we're searching for Lauren's quote-unquote replacement, if you have any TCDL questions or suggestions, please reach out to me. I'll be the point of contact for the conference until we get someone to fill Lauren's shoes.
Great. Thank you, Leah. Are there any questions? If you have any, you can type those into the chat window and we'll do our best to answer them. While you're thinking about it, I do want to highlight a couple of things that popped up, or something that popped up in chat early on to make sure everybody saw them. Laura McElfresh from A&M Galveston noted that someone from A&M Galveston is looking for a speaker for a GIS week event, which is the second week of November. And so if you or somebody you know would be a good fit for doing a talk about GIS, to let her know. Stephanie has a question about what the Digital Frontiers Conference is about. So Digital Frontiers has been around for a few years, and it is focused a lot around digital humanities. So Leah, I don't know if you have other things you want to add, but it is primarily digital humanities conference and digital scholarship. Others may have more information on that as well. Spencer Corrales, formerly of the University of North Texas, I believe he's at Kansas now, has been really instrumental in developing that conference, and he is a humanities faculty researcher. Are there other questions, announcements, thoughts? Sounds like no. Well, thank you everybody for joining today. We will see you again this time next month, if not sooner. And I hope everybody has a really great start to the semester. If students aren't back yet, I know they will be soon. And hope it all goes well wherever you are. And we look forward to continuing to work with you. Right.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye.